Hi, welcome to Movie Duct. Today's featured film delves into the story of a brilliant high school student who crafts intricate methods to assist fellow students in academic dishonesty. The opening scene introduces us to the climactic round of a junior high school Scrabble competition. One contestant, Lynn, faces off against Sarawis from a rival institution. Among the spectators are Lynn's father, Vit, and the principal of a prestigious school, who pledges a full scholarship if Lynn emerges victorious. Sarawis, struggling in the final round, feigns an accidental eraser drop. A mentor in the audience retrieves the eraser, surreptitiously swapping it with one bearing the answers. Lynn astutely observes this maneuver, detecting Sarawis' deception. While she discreetly confronts him for cheating, she refrains from involving the judges. With her last move, Lynn spells out cheater to claim victory. The crowd erupts in applause, honoring Lynn with certificates. Over dinner that evening, Vid inquires about Lynn's impressions of her new school. With enthusiasm, Lynn extols the school's amenities, including state-of-the-art computers, air-conditioned classrooms, and an expansive library. She praises the music room, where a grand piano serenades lunchtime. Vit probes further, asking about friendships, to which Lynn responds evasively. One day, while playing the piano at school, Lynn encounters a classmate named Grace. Grace implores Lynn for assistance in perfecting a song for an upcoming school play. As Lynn plays the piano, Grace sings along, pausing at points of discord. Disheartened by her imperfect performance, Grace fears losing a role in the play, which she cherishes as a dream. In response, Lynn guides Grace to harmonize with the piano's keys, leading to triumphant success. Before parting, Grace asks Lynn to wait outside the music room to discuss their meeting after her audition. The audition proceeds well, but Grace exits with tears in her eyes. A new criterion dictates that participants in the school play must maintain a GPA above 3.25. Grace, struggling to meet this requirement, receives an offer from Lynn to provide tutoring. Over the ensuing days, they diligently study in the library. Meanwhile, their math teacher, Saphan, offers private tutoring beyond regular school hours. Grace shares a challenging sample question paper from Saphan's sessions. Notably more intricate than classroom materials, Lynn engages with these questions, driven to excel. A few weeks elapsed, and they found themselves in the midst of their midterm math exam. In the initial moments, Lynn effortlessly tackled all the questions. However, her ease was interrupted when she recognized a striking similarity between most of the questions and the ones Grace had encountered. It became apparent to Lynn that Saphan had been furnishing test questions to those students who were compensating him for private coaching beyond school. Lynn quickly jotted down all the answers on an eraser, cunningly concealed it within her shoe, and discreetly kicked it over to Grace's desk. Grace adeptly received the answers and transcribed them. When the results were released, Grace was ecstatic to have secured her highest scores ever. Yet, due to their identical scores, suspicion fell upon Lynn and Grace. Saphan issued a cautionary warning, alerting them to exercise caution, as he wouldn't hesitate to be severe should he discover any form of cheating. After Saphan's departure, Grace extended an invitation to Lynn for dinner at her boyfriend Pat's residence. In the evening, they rendezvoused with Pat at an opulent restaurant situated adjacent to his apartment. Pat, as it turned out, was a privileged individual with limited academic prowess. Following a lavish dinner hosted by Pat, he implored Lynn to assist him in the upcoming exam, akin to what she had done for Grace. Despite the considerable incentive, Lynn declined, concerned about the peril of being caught. Upon her return home, she encountered her father, Vit, enjoying a bowl of noodles. Lynn seized the opportunity to encourage her father to be more mindful of his diet before retiring to her room. Later, she overheard her father conversing on the phone about a loan, leading her to confront him. This confrontation revealed that he had borrowed money from his brother to cover Lynn's tuition. The school principal had pledged a full scholarship should Lynn win the Scrabble contest. Yet, Due to budgetary constraints, the scholarship was divided between Lynn and a male classmate, compelling them to share the financial burden for each semester. Confronted with unaffordable fees, Lynn suggested transferring back to her former school. Vit, however, believed she would find better opportunities in her current institution. The path to a complete scholarship now required Lynn to outperform her male counterpart and establish her superiority. The following school day, Lynn encountered a young child straining to reach a balloon tethered to the ceiling. Despite her efforts, the balloon remained out of reach until a young man named Bank came to their aid. Amidst the interaction, the child humorously labeled them a nice couple, causing Lynn and Bank to feel flustered. As the child departed, Lynn initiated an introduction and discovered that Bank was the very individual she was sharing her scholarship with. Eager to foster a connection, she inquired if they could remain friends, only to be met with rejection as Bank asserted their status as competitors. In the ensuing scene, Lynn found herself back at Pat's apartment building, reluctantly agreeing to aid both Pat and Grace in cheating during the exam. However, Lynn established a condition that they would only receive a fraction of the answers, making sure their actions wouldn't raise suspicion with the teacher. Pat ultimately consented to the agreement. This scene captures the culmination of their initial semester, where Lynn finds herself juggling not only her own exam but also aiding Grace and Pitt. Just as before, she starts jotting notes on an eraser but halts when she notices Saphan approaching her desk. Throughout the exam, Saphan keeps a close watch on her, eventually spotting her writing on the eraser. Seizing the moment, he snatches the eraser and is taken aback by the revelation: "You're passing exam information to students." Recognizing that Lynn is privy to his hidden secret, Saphan attempts to reason with her. However, Lynn hands him her completed answer sheet and departs the room without a word. While Saphan instructs the others to continue the exam, he trails Lynn, endeavoring to dissuade her from her course of action. He even resorts to threatening her, suggesting he might expose how she enabled Grace to cheat from her paper. As she walks away, Saphan notices Lynn's hand concealed in her pocket and questions whether she's recording their conversation. To his surprise, when she retrieves her phone, it becomes apparent that she has been in communication with the principal throughout the exchange. Meanwhile, Grace and Pitt express their gratitude to Lynn for orchestrating their successful plan. Unveiling the truth behind the scheme, it becomes evident that they had premeditated the entire scenario. Utilizing Saphan's tutoring materials, Lynn completes her paper swiftly. Notably, she marks answers on her test sheet, prompting Grace to exchange papers with her while distracting Saphan. Subsequently, Grace transcribes the answers onto an eraser and passes it to Pitt. Consequently, all three excel in the exam. Additionally, Lynn cleverly adjusts Pitt's contact name on her phone to resemble that of the principal's. This approach enables her to exert pressure on Saphan without completely ousting him. However, later that evening, she is bombarded with messages on a group chat, indicating that Saphan has been terminated from his teaching position. Lynn hurries to Pitt's apartment, seeking an explanation for this unexpected turn of events. Pitt reveals that he had recorded their phone conversation and forwarded it to the principal, fearing that Saphan could pose future complications. The ensuing day at school, she encounters the same student and learns he is Saphan's son, who now faces expulsion due to his father's action. The subsequent scene transports us to Bank's laundry establishment. Bank resides with his lone mother, who harbors an obsession with lottery tickets. Hindered by financial constraints, they are unable to address her severe back problems. Later, in a school setting, both Bank and Lynn are summoned by the principal. She proposes their participation in a televised quiz competition. Despite their initial reluctance to collaborate, the principal persuades them, emphasizing that the outcome will determine the recipient of the next term scholarship between the two. Consequently, even in their collaborative effort, the scholarship will be granted to the individual who contributes the most accurate responses. The very next day, they find themselves on the reality show's set. The quiz commences, with Bank providing the initial correct answer followed by Lynn. Their partnership earns them a 2-point advantage, yet they soon lose ground when Bank impulsively offers an incorrect response. Lynn proposes that he consult with her before providing hasty answers. Recognizing that competing against each other could jeopardize their chances, they deliberate over the final question. Although the opposing team answers first, their response is erroneous. Ultimately, Lynn identifies the correct solution, securing victory in the competition. In the subsequent days, they visit the principal's office, where it is revealed that Lynn has earned a full scholarship. The principal encourages Bank to reapply in the upcoming semester and dismisses them. Following the meeting, Lynn attempts to console Bank, but he remains distant. Later, he accompanies his mother to a government hospital, where they endure a lengthy wait. He confesses to his mother that he did not secure the scholarship. She masks her disappointment, assuring him she will gather the necessary funds before the next semester. At school, Lynn is summoned by Pitt to the computer lab. Pitt questions whether she will continue assisting him with cheating now that she is exempt from tuition fees. He mocks her when she claims to no longer require his financial support. Pitt asserts that the school still imposes fees for extracurricular activities, which Lynn may be unaware of. Upon returning home, Lynn investigates her father's belongings and discovers evidence that he paid a significant maintenance fee of 200,000 baht to the school. This revelation shatters the illusion of a full scholarship, exposing it as a mere publicity stunt to profit from students. Lynn contacts Pitt to inquire if there are others willing to compensate her for her assistance. In response, Pitt arranges a meeting involving Lynn, Grace, and his affluent acquaintances seeking Lynn's aid. She proposes a fee of 30,000 baht from each individual to facilitate cheating for a single semester. Due to the high number of participants, discreetly passing answers on erasers seems too risky. Hence, Lynn devises an alternative strategy. She recalls a visible clock on the front wall, its minute hand denoting the current question number. Given the multiple-choice format, each question has 4 options. Lynn proposes that the second hand on the clock corresponds to the correct answer. For instance, if the answer is option A, Lynn will raise her hand when the second hand reaches the 1-minute mark, and for option B, she'll signal when it hits the 2-minute mark. Since the exam spans 2 hours and comprises 60 questions, Lynn aims to complete her test within 1 hour and devote the second hour to aiding her peers. The plan unfolds successfully, just as they had envisioned. However, in the midst of the situation, Bank, who is seated right beside Lynn, politely requests her to reduce her movement, explaining that he's having difficulty concentrating. Unexpectedly, a piece of paper slips from his hand and lands on the floor, catching the teacher's attention. She picks up the paper, initially suspecting it to be a cheat sheet, but it turns out to be a list of customer addresses from Bank's laundry service. The teacher instructs him to empty his pockets, during which an exhausted Bank accidentally vomits on the paper. This triggers laughter from the entire class as he hurriedly heads to the restroom. Later in the day, Lynn visits Bank's house and informs him that she no longer requires the scholarship, thus returning it to him. A surprised Bank inquires about her decision, but Lynn conceals the fact that she had earned money by assisting her peers in cheating. Instead, she claims her father won the lottery. Delighted, Bank offers to launder her clothes for free as a gesture of gratitude. He accompanies her on the bus ride back home, and as the episode draws to a close, he expresses his desire to establish a friendship with Lynn. If you enjoyed this content, remember to subscribe for more videos, activate notifications, and show your support by leaving a thumbs up to help the channel grow.